Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's the number one Chief Rocket Knicks Universe, man, Uncle Freezie. Hey, man, just coming through really quick. I got one of the people that I really respect in Knicks Universe backstage. Man, I'm excited for the fact that we get on the camera at the same time together and chop up this Knicks talk the way that y'all like to have this talk to y'all. So we're gonna keep it really short. Try to keep it somewhere under 15 minutes, right? But I got some I'm a fan of this guy, and I assume that you will become too. SI guy, Mr. Murphy. Hey, what's good, man?
What's going on? How you doing there, Freezy?
Man, I'm good. Chief is in the building. So really quick, I just want to ask you, um, um, do you feel like the Knicks did enough at the trade deadline?
Yes, I actually do. I think they did I think I wasn't a fan of Leon Rose, because I felt like him and West was scamming just because of the way they were making moves early. But the last couple of years, the moves that they made have started to grow on me. So I've actually changed my thought on him a little bit. Even though I still got a side eye to him a little at the same time, but I'm actually happy that he's made the moves that he's made. We're getting starting with Hart last year, and getting that energy up, and then making this trade deadline move to get Burks back and Bogdanovich. I can't really say his name correctly, but and Brunson last year also. It's just they've been doing the right things. They're actually building this the way I expected them to do because they weren't able to get a star, so they're actually building it like the Pistons with a bunch of A- and B+ basketball players and getting deep enough to where the opponent that they play will actually be outmanned. But with high basketball IQ and just team sharing the ball, even though Brunson and Randall out here trying to get 30 points a game for themselves.
Right, right, right. I share your sentiment in that um I think they had something to prove to a lot of us,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that they're going about proving it to us is different than other or past front offices, and that they didn't overwhelm us during the honeymoon period. Like
Mm-hmm.
when people take the job, they try to do the flashy move to get us on board with their thinking, and they more
Yeah.
so just took their time, and tried to do it in a way that makes sense to them, even though it didn't make sense to us.
Yeah, they're
And
building a basketball team.
right, right,
Mm-hmm.
right, right. And so I understand where they come from, and if we're in the mindset that rookies don't develop in a linear path, then the same can be said about a basketball team. There are going to be great moves and bad moves all along the way. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing about bringing together a or great basketball team, like you mentioned, is sometimes you have to make the Ben Gordon signing and things like that when you make um, the Ben Wallace signing. You know what I'm saying? So there are gonna be some moves that make you scratch your head, like why do you extend Lindsey Hunter again?
Mm-hmm.
And then at the same time you trade for Richard Hamilton.
Yep.
So like in your Pistons reference, there are gonna be those moves that make you think, okay, why did they draft Darko again? At the same time they trade for Rasheed Wallace. You know what I mean? So I get it. I get it. And
Darko was a bad pick though. They should have took Melo.
they should have, in my view, and in my view, I think they should have traded the pick because they weren't going to play a rookie anyway, right? They
that's
were an Eastern Conference finalist for the most
that
part.
that's
I think they should have
true.
traded the pick.
That's true, but at the same time, you still need one of them. You still have to draft them young wolves to keep the process going. You know what I mean? And getting Melo was a bulldog, so he would have got in where he fitted
Right.
because they would have realized that he was more talented than the whole team anyway.
Then the
So he
whole
would
thing.
So he would have fought for his minutes. So
You,
even if he wasn't starting, he'd have been starting like year 2, year 3 to keep it going. It's like it's actually like what the Golden State Warriors are trying to do with Kaminga.
right, right. Ironically, I'm glad you say that because I have a lot of family members that live in Detroit, and ironically, they feel like Pistons fans felt like the pick should have been Chris Bosh. If you're gonna draft a young project at power forward, why not just draft Chris Bosh? And then that way, instead of you re-signing Antonio McDyess, Chris Bosh could have been coming off the bench playing those minutes. That's what they say. Now I'm a Knicks fan on the outside looking in, so I mean
Hmm
I don't know, right?
Yeah, they're probably correct, but I would take Melo just for the fact that the Pistons and that whole era had an issue scoring.
Right.
So his scoring would have just put them in a position where they could have won maybe another championship. Maybe they don't lose to the Spurs.
Maybe they don't lose to the Spurs because they needed offense against the Spurs.
Hmm
Remember,
Yep.
they couldn't score
Yep.
ironically against the
Yep.
Spurs. So
hmm
so yeah, either way, I guess it's an easy thing to figure out. Um
hmm
um Seeing what other teams did around the trade deadline, how do you think what other teams around the trade deadline did impacted them, and how does that make them a more worthy adversary for the Knicks?
Well, I think Boston getting Tillman just puts them over the top. That's the number one team. So I was frustrated with that move because it's like, damn, they got another front court player. Because I'm thinking that we could actually beat the Celtics without let's say if Porzingis is not healthy. Because remember, with the team that they had last year, we were 3-1 against that team,
Right,
right?
right.
So So last year I was hoping that we had the opportunity to get our hands on them, and that didn't happen. So just getting Porzingis and then fortifying the front court, we're getting Tillman from the Grizzlies was just frustrating, to me. And then I really wasn't happy with the other teams' moves because I feel like the top teams really didn't do much, in the big picture things.
Right.
They kind of stood pat because everybody still has to see how the Nuggets, and they didn't do anything. So in terms of that, the Nuggets are still the best team, but really wasn't anything impressive, and then the Pacers just getting Siakam, frustrating loss the other night,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can like I'm starting to hate that team, and I don't really hate too many teams. I'm starting to hate the
Did
Pacers
you see
now.
the way they were celebrating though? The
That's
Pacers.
exactly that's exactly why. They played us shorthanded every game all season, and they think they're doing something.
Yeah, they out there about to pop champagne.
Yeah, and then and then your man, even though I like Halliburton, your man be wearing some bad suits. So
Yeah, yeah,
he got
yeah,
bad fashion. He need a better stylist.
he just yeah. I think he is awkward in that new space that he in.
Hmm
You know what I'm saying? Like you know how like the geek come into to a new thing and
hmm
don't know how to handle it. That's what he looked like to me. Like the goofy dude that come into something. But
Yeah.
how do you feel about Halliburton? I mean, not Halliburton. I'm sorry, Buddy Hield going to Philly. You think that changes their trajectory?
No, because as long as Embiid is not playing, you don't really have to be worried about him. I'm
Okay.
I'm I'm thinking the Cavs may get this right. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be a little frustrated. I might be frustrated running into them, even though they didn't do nothing at the deadline either.
Um, the Cavs thing is interesting because to me, because Max Strus might be the best on-ball individual ISO defender in the NBA.
That's an
And you
interesting thought.
and you couple that with Isaac Okoro's defense and
Yeah.
Jared Allen's defense and Evan Mobley's defense, right?
hmm
And then you also add Donovan Mitchell's offense, Darius Garland's offense,
Yep. And
and George Niang's 3-point shooting and such.
guess what? Your boy Okoro's shooting 38% from three this year.
I, 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 bro, every time I see him, I'm thinking
He's
like
only scoring 8 points a game, but he's still shooting 38%. So
he is a threat. He's one of
hmm
those dudes where when their offense is going, you can't leave him to double Donovan Mitchell.
Not anymore. It's good. So it's gonna be interesting. I like to run into again. I'm not afraid of any team. I'm not even afraid of Boston, but
Right.
we still frustrated by last year losing to the Heat because the Knicks are more talented than the Heat. You're not supposed to lose that series.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly think, and I think I may have told you this before, but you and I generally don't get a chance to talk one on one. Usually, it's like the panel is full, and I don't get to ask you like the question straight up. But you already know I value your opinion because you've been talking this Knicks stuff for years now,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think the Knicks front office saw that we should have beat Miami last year and been in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yep.
That's why all these kids are gone.
Yep.
Right? Like I think they felt like Tibbs was pressing the right buttons,
Mm-hmm.
right? The only thing is the buttons wasn't working. Is basically the way that the only way that I could describe it. Like the strategies were right, the execution wasn't right, and so
The kids weren't ready.
the,
We thought they were, but they really weren't ready.
and we don't know how long it would take them to get ready,
Mm-hmm.
and that's one of the reasons why they punted on the draft.
Yeah.
Because if the kids we got aren't ready, drafting more kids doesn't make the having young kids make the issue even better. It
Mm-hmm.
just seems like it makes the situation worse. Um,
And they didn't fit they in the big picture things, they really didn't fit the age group with Randall and Brunson. Those guys are 27, 28, 29. And you got a bunch of 22 and 23-year-olds, and they're still not. They Grimes, RJ, and Quickly still weren't getting it in the playoffs. They were
and
getting it in
Obi.
this. Obi, I ain't even gonna talk about that.
And Obi, yeah.
Yeah, I was never impressed with Obi. They should have never drafted Obi, and I'll keep saying that they should have never drafted him.
Right. So assuming we think the pick should have been Halliburton or Tyrese Maxey.
Or Vassell. I would have.
Or Vassell.
Yeah, or Vassell.
So Legion of Knicks and I argued over that. And from leading up to the draft, I thought the Knicks should have drafted Aaron Nesmith, and he said Devin Vassell. So I'm just going to say in public that he was right. I never told him face to face that he was right, but he's right.
Yeah.
That Devin Vassell should have been the pick, even though I still like Aaron Nesmith.
Yeah, he's all right. He's finally developed. It took him a long time too, though.
Yeah, I think situationally, I think he was in the wrong situation. He was never going to get starters minutes in Boston.
Yeah,
and that's probably what he needed. So
the one thing I've learned listening to a lot of NBA players is they'll tell you that it's more about where you get drafted than that's very important by who drafts you, where you go.
Right. Absolutely right. I have a couple of questions to ask you.
Okay.
Also,
Let's go.
Understanding that the Knicks have a void at the 5, we know Taj Gibson is not the short-term answer.
Ooh.
Definitely not the long-term answer.
No.
But the short-term, Taj Gibson should probably only be playing. I can't
0 minutes.
He should be playing.
He looked done Saturday. He looked washed. When you come shorter and you start missing baskets the way you do on offense,
yeah,
and you kind of slow foot on defense, he's done.
Yeah, when I saw him that 4-footer, the 4-foot push shot, he missed, and it was short from 4 feet.
That's the exact one I'm talking about.
Yep, I was like, yeah, he don't have any legs left.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, he don't have any legs left. And so with that said right there, are you surprised the Knicks didn't make a move in the buyout market yet to bring in at least a journeyman big?
No, because Tibbs. No, because Tibbs is about trust. So which big man you gonna find out here that he's really gonna trust in a couple games, And we're almost at the All-Star break anyway. And Mitch and iHeart, they should be straight. Mitch in the middle of March, and iHeart with this couple of weeks off because we got the All-Star break coming up. He should be all right after All-Star break. So there's only 2 games. There's only 2 games left. We can survive, especially if I know Sims is sick. So hopefully
with the Achilles, he'll need a couple of months off.
That's
right?
true. The thing is,
but iHeart could probably play at about 70%. through the
Yeah.
rest of the season.
But we
And
get Mitch back, so as long as Mitch come back, even though Mitch is never healthy in critical situations, he, it's we gonna have to put some thought into Mitch over the summer for real, for real.
um, um, I'm here to tell you, I think we should put some thought into both he
Hmm.
and Hartenstein,
Yeah.
because Hartenstein, when healthy, is a monster,
Yes.
right? But when's the last time you seen Hartenstein healthy?
We
Healthy
don't. And remember, last year he started off unhealthy for us, so
with the
that's
same
like
with the same
it's the
injury.
same injury. So he got so this is something that's ailing. So center's going to be an issue over the summer that they have to handle.
And so just really quickly to that point, what I'll suggest to you is I think the Knicks should put $0 in the center position. Just find quality
Wow.
depth from here on out. Just like go find you three or $4 million centers and just rotate them throughout the season and put the rest of the money on the perimeter, because what's going to happen is Hartenstein has played his way into being a starter in the NBA. Some team that needs a starting center
Hmm.
is is going to pay Hartenstein. And
That's
are you going
true.
to match it or pay him more, and then also be paying Mitch 14 million? So you pay iHeart 18 million, and then pay Mitch 14 million, excuse me, and then be paying $32 million at the center position, or do you spend half that on four live bodies, or even better, sign one borderline guy and then maybe draft two of them on first round pick contracts, and then that way you have them locked up for 4 years, and then
But
that just rotate those guys at the center position.
but we just agreed that no draft pick is really going to play on this team, even if you draft them. But
Ah,
I get but I get what you're saying though, because it's still a you can still get those young kids. They're not going to score anyway. They're not really part of the offense the way
right.
they move. So I mean, you could, but I think I would still stick with Mitch and iHeart because neither one of them is healthy. I know iHeart is going to get paid, but we got to see who's going to pay him because how many starting center positions are there really out there? Even
Yeah.
though, even though I think Chicago might need one, but they still have Vucevic over there. So, I mean, I'm really not threatened by losing iHeart in a way. You probably can sign and trade him and get something for him too.
Yeah, well, Washington will need a center, right?
Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, they definitely.
yeah. OKC will need a center.
Yeah,
Orlando is going to need a long term answer. Depending on how you view Claxton in Brooklyn, is he a five? Is he a four? Depending on how you view him.
yeah. I don't view Claxton as a center, but but he is a center though.
Yeah, but yeah, he's definitely playing center, and
Yeah.
and and so there are teams. There'll be a market. The way I view it is there's always a market for good players.
Yes, there
You,
is always.
you know what I'm saying? So, um, if the Knicks bring in somebody in the buyout market, what do you think the priority should be?
Guard,
What type of guard? So,
Brunson backup.
a
Like
Brunson
if you,
backup. Okay.
yeah, I still think he's getting too many minutes. And then last week when he was doing too much when he sprained his ankle against the Pacers, going to
Way,
he was doing too much.
way too
But
much.
but he yeah, I still would get a guard. I still need a point guard.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. One last question before we get out of here. I tried to keep it at 15 minutes, man. I apologize. As soon as we
Oh
start
nah,
talking,
nah,
the
trust me.
flow of the conversation just took off.
Yeah, you know how it goes. Shout out to the chat. Shout out to everybody who's in the chat today.
Yeah, shout out to the chat, man.
Yeah,
Thank
shout
y'all.
out to.
Thank y'all for rocking with us too.
Mhm.
Um, are you concerned about the way the losses are piling up due to us not being deep because we have so many guys out because of injury?
Nope, I'm not worried about it at all. For real, I'm really not. Even if they lose this next two, I'm not really worried about it. I'm
Okay.
I'm 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 ready for March. When I'm ready for March, when everything is loaded up, I'm hoping they keep Randall out till about the middle of March. You know, and like let's like get going those last 15 games. I think they play Philadelphia 2 games in a row. Those back-to-back games, that's what I would be shooting for to get everybody back.
For everybody
And then,
back.
because then in that last run, we got Chicago, we got Boston, like we got a couple of teams that that we should be getting ready to, you know, to see. Because I think actually if this team gets healthy, I'm not thinking conference final. I think they can win the whole damn thing.
Me too.
Like
I
for
do
real.
too.
I think they have an opportunity to win this whole thing.
I do too. And I think it starts. I think for one, just for clarity, I'm with you on the statement games. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to have everybody healthy back for those statement games.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the grand scheme of things, one game against Boston is not going to make or break it.
No.
Having everybody back and you thump Boston sends a statement to Boston.
Yeah.
And,
So I want to be fully loaded to the end of March. With a pause on that fully loaded.
I was gonna say relax, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you on that. I do, but like for instance, I believe in Deuce McBride, but I don't believe in Deuce against Eric Spoelstra and these championship level coaches in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Right?
I don't either because he's got to hit those shots when it counts. Like he's finally starting to hit some shots. That was my frustration with Deuce, but excuse the noise. But I'm outside. But
Yeah.
I'm like he's starting to hit shots, so he's starting to look like the person that maybe he can replace quickly a little bit.
Right. But this is what we're talking about in February.
Yeah,
Because I'm not gonna lie to you, no Knick fan anywhere on earth can tell me Deuce McBride this February looked better than Emmanuel Quickly last February.
no,
There's no way you can convince me of that.
nope.
Right?
And
It's not even a comparison.
but like I said, we only need to have him replaceable in April and May because Quickly wasn't showing up even then either.
Right. And that was my point.
Mm-hmm.
My point is Emmanuel Quickly last February looked like a borderline, maybe close to a borderline all-star type
All-star.
point guard
Yeah.
if he
Mm-hmm.
had his own team,
Yep.
right?
And
And
that Boston game, I think was in February when he put that 38 up on them on the
yeah,
team on that Sunday night, and everybody was like, okay. But then in the playoffs,
those championship level coaches, they make you look different in a 7-game series, and that's the reason why. No disrespect to Deuce, right? But we've seen this
we've seen it
before.
before.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, and so our point guard off the bench. You remember our point guard off the bench 3 years ago, Derrick Rose. During
Yep.
the regular season, we were like, "Yo, all we have to do is make the playoffs, and then the old Derrick Rose will come back." And then we
Nope.
got in that playoff series against Atlanta.
Showed his age. He was out of gas.
Yeah, and then
Mm-hmm.
last year quickly didn't, and so
He was bad in that Cleveland series, and then he sprained the ankle against Dirty Bam. So
yeah. Well,
you know, he
Bam is
was
gonna
bad
get
at
somebody.
Yeah. He got us twice. He got Randall too.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, so I get it. So no disrespect to Deuce and his progress, his development. I just feel like,
mm-hmm.
I would just rather trust a veteran in that
Yep.
spot in the playoffs. And there's no disrespect to Deuce and what he is going forward as a Knick.
Yep.
I just don't want to see the combination of Alec Burks and a young guard against Spoelstra or Boston or anybody, Doc Rivers or anybody formidable, Nick Nurse, you know what I'm saying, in games that means our season is on the line.
Yep.
Right.
I get it.
I just don't want to see it. So
Yep.
yeah, man. Yeah, man. So my thing is I would prefer for the Knicks to see if they can find a guard, some valuable assets on the buyout market. That way we won't have, no disrespect to Charlie Brown or to Jacob Toppin, but I would rather see veterans with a track record at the end of the bench as opposed to Jacob Toppin.
Well, There's actually one person who's been just about on every team that still hasn't been on the Knicks yet. So he's actually out there. Ish Smith.
Yeah. So if Ish Smith, if you watching, come on home, bro.
Yeah.
Come on home. Yeah. That's
Hey,
that is Ish Smith is on Clyde Frazier's bucket list.
yes,
So,
he is.
so Ish Smith, if you watching, just come on to the Knicks so Clyde Frazier can cross you off his bucket list.
Yep.
Amen. So thank you, man, for rocking with me, man. I appreciate it.
Nah, man, no problem. Just hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know where to hit me.
Yeah.
I'm not hard to get in touch with.
Yeah, man. I like doing these things right here, man. It's not gonna. I can't replace the Knicks Morning Drive. That's my baby, man.
Oh,
The Knicks
nah,
Morning
I
Drive
love that.
is my boo thing, man. But
Yeah,
these shorts that we do,
yeah.
man, I really appreciate y'all coming on and giving me time so that
Mm-hmm.
we could just have these one-on-ones, these
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one conversations, man, where
Mm-hmm.
we could just talk about a topic and dig down deep, drill down on them.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this really quickly, just so because it's
Mm-hmm.
pouring down here in South Carolina. It's
Yeah.
pouring down, right? Just so that I can
Mm-hmm.
get jealous. Can you tell me what the weather's like in Brooklyn?
Oh man, it's probably about 40 degrees out here, and as you can see, like you can hear it's all lively because actually I'm in like the downtown section, so they're actually building up over here, so I see the
Right,
buildings and all that.
right,
So they got another building over here that they just finished. So there's another one behind this one right here that they're actually building. I actually think it's only like electric, so it's not even like connected. Like it's like the first, it's some type of building that's like the first of its kind right here across the street from me. So they're building up over here.
wow. So they making low footprint buildings in Brooklyn now, where
Yeah,
where they trying to save the environment. A lot of
yeah,
new tech,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
So shout out to Brooklyn, man.
Yeah,
We love
and the
Brooklyn.
thing is, I don't even live in Brooklyn. I just work out here, but they building
Hey,
it up though.
gotta get the money, man. Get money.
Yeah,
Get money. So
yeah.
thank you for rocking with me, chat. Thank y'all for rocking with us. I'm sorry about not having the Knicks Morning Drive this morning. Like Chief said, man. So we gotta make this paper. So
Mm-hmm.
so thank y'all everybody for coming through. Make sure y'all subscribe, hit the like button, and
Yep.
keep an eye out for these shorts that we're doing.
Yeah, this is
Knicks morning drive definitely tomorrow. Knicks at Night podcast definitely tonight.
this is a dope add to your content, man. Like, I really appreciate these. I've seen a couple of them, so yeah, This is something to rock with. Yeah, get with it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Just in between telephone calls, man. In between those telephone calls, man. We
Yeah,
just trying to do a little something. But thank y'all
yeah.
everybody for rocking and watching and watching. We out of here,
Mm-hmm.
y'all.
Yeah.
Peace, everybody.
Peace.